Hello everyone and welcome back to Sentence 201. Today we will be covering lesson 3, phrases and clauses. As always, welcome to this lesson. My name is Natasha. I'm an author, editor and educator with an honours degree in English language and literature and a postgraduate degree in language education with 4 years formal teaching experience. If you like this video, please share and subscribe. Right, so after this lesson, you will know what a phrase is, you will know what a clause is, and you will know how to identify these in a sentence. And if you're watching this at home, please take the time to pause the video as often as you need to for you to work at your own pace. That's very important because we're dealing with complicated things, especially if this is the first time you're seeing them. So, what is a clause, ladies and gentlemen? A clause consists of a noun or a noun group and a verb or a verb group. So a subject and a subject and a verb. So then what is a phrase? A phrase does not have both a subject and a verb and acts as a single part of speech. So if you can see my little oopsie here. So if you think about what we learned in parts of speech, you'll remember we had nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. All of these can act as phrases. So if you don't know what parts of speech are, please click the card up here to go watch the parts of speech video and then just return to this one when you're done with that. Let's look at an example of a clause. So remember we said a clause has both a subject and a verb, okay? But then we've got two different kinds of clauses. Can you tell me what they are? We have an independent clause. It can stand completely on its own. For example, I am walking. Look over here, we've got our subject and our verb, okay? There's no object. That's not relevant when we look at clauses. We just need a subject and a verb, okay? We went out. We have our subject and our verb. Right. So if you look carefully, you'll see that we have both a subject and a verb in the sentence. Thus, they are independent, okay? And it can stand completely on its own. It makes sense when it's written out like this. You know what it means. It doesn't need anything else to function. Then we have a dependent clause. Now the important thing, and I think this is very obvious, the important thing of a dependent clause is that it cannot stand on its own and it needs an independent clause to function. Okay, independent can stand on its own, dependent will always have an independent clause with it. Let's look at an example. Although I was late. So if I write this out just like this, it's not going to make sense, right? Because as you can see, I even added the little comma there. Whatever you decide. Okay, whatever I decide what? See, we need a little something there for these sentences to make sense, for these clauses to make sense. But there is still a subject and a verb. I and you, those are our subjects. Was and decide, those are our verbs. So this still makes it a clause. Now let's look at an example of a phrase. And can you identify the phrase for me? Just pause this video if you're watching at home to take all the time you need. I saw the kids on the bus bullying that girl. Now obviously this is a full sentence and we said that a phrase does not have both a subject and a verb. It is not a full sentence. So somewhere we need to look for a part of speech, a whole phrase, a set of words that act as a part of speech. Can you identify that? Here's another sentence. Can you identify the phrase in this sentence? Right, so the kids on the bus act as our noun phrase. And how we know this is we can replace the kids on the bus with them, the pronoun them. Vivian and John is also a phrase and a noun phrase because we can also replace this with them. Now let's break down an entire sentence. And we are going to use literally all the knowledge we have learned so far. Here is the sentence. After we went shopping, the car guard helped us load everything into the car. Now, I find it best when I have to analyze a sentence to first start with my clauses, because there will definitely be clauses. There will definitely be an independent clause. A sentence is always an independent clause, right? So, can you tell me what this part is? I think the comma is giving it away, don't you? This is a dependent clause, because if we read it just by itself after we went shopping, it doesn't really make sense, you see. So this is our dependent clause. Now, then that makes this the independent clause, because look, it has a subject and a verb and even an object. So obviously full sentence. This is our independent clause. It can stand completely on its own. Right, let's see if we can identify some phrases. Take a second, see if you can identify any phrases. What phrase is this? The car guard. If you said noun phrase, you were correct. Awesome. What phrase is this? Helped us load. This is a verb phrase. Remember, we said phrases function as a single part of speech. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs. So we can have noun phrases, verb phrases, adjectival phrases, adverbial phrases. All of those, any part of speech that we learnt can be made into a phrase. Can you maybe identify this one? Into the car. What part of speech would this be, do you think? When do we see position? If you said prepositional phrase, great stuff. Right, so how did you do? Did you manage to do this on your own before my help? I know it's very complicated, but just keep with me. This very important skill, being able to analyze a sentence. And as always, I'm giving you a few self-study examples and see if you can do them on your own. When the sun rises, we will wake up. Although I love coffee, I prefer tea. Okay, so see if you can identify the dependent and the independent clauses, as well as all the various phrases in there. Okay, if there are any. Now, I want you to remember that if you feel overwhelmed, just watch this video again. That's why I keep the videos nice, short and sweet. And if you, as always, have any questions, do not hesitate to leave them in the comment section below, or even email me. All my details are in the little description box below. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, please give me a thumbs up so more people can see it. And if this was helpful to you, please share it to your friends. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss out on any videos.